Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Relay. I'm your host, Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots and promoter for the Plastic City Comic Con. With me is always Johnny C., creator of Sartana, Surrounded by Death and the Pond
And the
for
bod.
Roger Morocco. And our third co-host, Harry G., graphic artist extraordinaire. How's it going, guys?
Doing all right.
Johnny's going.
So,
It's going.
Amy's like already entertained me with Tales of Comic Con. Well, we should probably start with the elephant in the room. Like, we've been dissed again this week for guests. So I don't know if it's because we're scheduling so far in advance. Like, I mean, literally, the shows we had planned were like probably like 4 or 5 months out, and like I get that other things happen and things come up, but 3 weeks in a row, man,
that's a burn.
It's a burn. I should have reached out to actually Tony James and see if he wanted to come on with us tonight, but
that would have been good. The instances like this is where it's like having that backup, right? Having a good backup or doing an open mic might be good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That would have been actually pretty good. It would have been an idea to change that and do it, an open mic.
Too bad we don't have open lines. Even call.
Yeah, I know. I wish that would be kind of fun. We could. I mean, I could put the link in the chat if anyone wanted to come in. They could.
Yeah.
But I figured we'd just jump in, and we were going to cancel the show because we didn't have the guests, but we figured just jump in, maybe shoot the shit a little bit, and then say happy Thanksgiving and
it's a holiday week, so I can see where
Yeah, well, it just stinks, because I actually did try to get in touch with the manager and the guy that was supposed to be on ahead of time to make sure they were coming on, because usually when I reach out to a guest with the link to the show and everything, they'll write back and they'll say something like "see you Monday night" or whatever, But when I don't hear from the guest, I instantly start worrying, because I'm like, are they coming? Did they get the email? Is it in their spam folder? What's going on? And then, I set up a lot of stuff. I do the thumbnails. We set up the broadcast. It takes a little while to do. So when someone doesn't show up, it kind of becomes a thing. But
yeah. Well,
but at least
that's where it's like a thankless effort, so to speak, right?
Yeah, almost. But I figured we could still talk. I mean, you had a Comic-Con this weekend. Would you?
Boy, did I?
Yeah, well, you were mostly emceeing, right? So you didn't really get a feel for the
sales.
Show,
wasn't
really?
my concern, but I heard people did pretty well.
Awesome.
We had two.
You talked to Jared. I know Jared was there.
Jared was not far off from me, so he was present. I helped him get a table at the show this time around because it was actually sold out. So,
oh wow, really?
There was a lot of people, a lot of people. Eric Roberts was there. He was really cool.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I do think that show does get a lot of traffic, and I would do it if it was. I wish it was closer. That's my only thing. If it was an hour out,
right,
I would just drive to it each day, and then it'd be worth it for me. But having to get the hotel and everything else, it ends up being not really worth it, when everything's said and done.
For sure. But, Saratoga Springs is a very nice area too. So I also appreciate the community up there. And
oh yeah, I love
it's a nice area.
I love the Stewart's shops that are all around
Stewart's
there.
shops are the best. It's like a Wawa for, or like a
homemade soda from their company or whatever. So good.
Soda's the best. It's the absolute best.
There's literally one across from the convention, and I run out like multiple times when I do that show.
Is it better than Wild Bill's soda pop, old fashioned soda pop?
I think so. I mean, it's bottled versus like the carbonated,
well, they sell bottled things too online if you go to their website.
Oh, they do. That's right. Yeah, I did order a case a while ago, and it was pretty good. Like, I gotta admit, I did like it.
What's your favorite?
Mine? They have a strawberry one now that I thought was really good. I think that was the one I got online, but I like that one a lot. Strawberry soda though is always so bad for you. If you look at the calories, it's like the worst of every soda.
Yeah, it's like Mountain Dew times 2.
Yeah, pretty much. And speaking of Mountain Dew, they're always one of the worst too. But like,
but those Mountain Dew flavors though, like the
I
Voodoos,
love it.
those are the best. Those are the best.
I'm sorry I missed. Speaking of Mountain Dew, I'm sorry I missed. I guess Buffalo Wild Wings had a limited or an exclusive hard Mountain Dew that they were selling.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I wish I went to there to try it. I would, I don't drink much alcohol, but I would have had a couple of those just to try it out.
That would have been a good live video, like a live taste test.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else you could say about Saratoga, Johnny? I mean, like,
yeah. Well, I'm going to share something I shared in my Facebook profile anyway, and so. Conventions aren't without their hitches. I mean, Keith, you've had issues pop up at conventions before.
Absolutely.
I mean, you run a show, like, you never know when somebody's going to come on in, pop their shirt off and start flexing. You know what I mean? So, crises can happen. So, unfortunately, the fire alarm went off at one point during the show. And these things happen. It didn't kill the show. Let me just say that. Everybody came back in, and it was just as busy after the fire alarm as it was before. But I
remember I forgot about that. You sent it to us.
Yeah. I have it queued up. I can actually queue it up too.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So I can present and I can show it. But so my table mate, or the person to the table next to me, Assad Lusso, awesome indie creator. We definitely need to have him on the show sometime so he can promote his work. But as the fire alarm was going off, he snapped a video of one of the alarms, the blinking lights that was going off. Now I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share the video. The key point to look for is the look on my face, because this is exactly when the fire alarm went off. And just kind of watch. So hang on one sec. I'm going to pull it up right now.
Make sure you hit that. There's like an audio option, I think, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Select a tab to share. Window, entire screen. Let's go window. No, let's go tab. Let's go this tab right here, and let's share this. Okay. So can you guys see my thing over here? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to pop on over. So here's some of the videos anyway, or some of the photos anyway. There's a lot of real great friends I have made over the years up in Saratoga. There's this really great family that did this
those guys
cosplay
there all the time.
Yeah. And they were great. Well, this isn't the Montreal X-Men or anything, but this was a family that got together.
It's a family. That's not the Montreal X-Men? Oh, wow.
Not Montreal. Nope. This is a family that got together and did an X-Men. Even this little kid over here with the Nightcrawler was great.
Yeah. Look at that. That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Colossus over here. Awesome. And this guy, this Leatherface was great.
Oh yeah, look at that. Wow.
Yeah.
I still haven't looked through your photos yet, Johnny. So
yeah.
I mean, if you want to, highlight the best ones, that'd be great.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. So, and this is the group shot with some of the celebrities. You got Eric Roberts over here.
That's cool.
Jack Guzman from Power Rangers over here. You got Johnny Abrams from Scary Movie and Meet the Parents over here. This lovely young woman, Miley Flanagan. She's the voice of Naruto. She's the main character.
So this is like all the celebrities and stuff that were.
These are the most of the celebrities and some of the staff. Gotcha, and then there's Sam right back there.
Ara said next year he's going to go to Saratoga Comic Con.
Oh, I'd love to see you up there, Ara. So I also got cuffed by the New York State Police.
What'd you do?
I'm mischievous.
Oh yeah.
But this is the exact. What's that?
Creator outlet with us tonight. Hail nerds.
Hail nerds.
Ben Soto, what's going on, Ben? Thanks for joining us.
Ben, what's good, my man? All right, so here is the actual fire alarm footage.
Okay. And then bouncy house in the background.
Bouncy house in the background.
You
And
said
I
he
just
always
walked
had
off
that
screen.
there. I don't remember it from the years I've been there, but maybe
It's
it was always there and I just
It's
never
always
noticed.
been there, and it's a crazy moneymaker. I don't know. It's like people come by, they
Like they've never
put
seen a
they
bouncy
put their
house.
younger kids in there. I had one young mom. She was sitting at my table because my table's right there, and she was just hanging out, chilling, drinking some wine, and we were chit chatting. She's real chill, but she just put the kid in the bouncy house, let him scream and expend all of his energy. She drank a little wine, and
Yeah, why
chit
not?
chatted.
I mean, if you make money at it, that's huge.
Yeah, I think that's I might bring a bouncy house to Plastic City next year.
Yeah.
Set it up instead of your table.
Yeah, like maybe that might be the key.
Yeah,
You
it
know
might
what I
be something
mean?
to think about. I don't know. It seems kind of weird to have one at a convention, but Sam's show though is it's all over the place. Anyways, it reminds me a lot of Gary's show a lot because like
When it worked.
yeah, but
When it
like
worked.
more like in the sense of not in the sense of successes, but more in the sense of like
It's a
like
mix.
nothing makes sense. There's like a comic book creator next to a
The
guy
Harp
that
Twins.
sells like knives or role playing game.
Don't forget,
like
and the
What's
Harp
that?
Twins. The Harp Twins. Don't forget the Harp Twins.
Yeah. Or there'll be like an artist right next to the guy that sells beef jerky. Like there's no rhyme or reason to like the different vendors. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just
Right.
So it's
So-
more
I
like
just-
I don't think that's a negative or a knock on the show. I
no,
just
it's
think
not.
it's a different
It's
format.
like
it's a
I often
variety
say that
show.
the shows like reflect the actual promoter in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Like if you
see
break
that.
down, so like it's not a knock on Sam's show. I actually think it's a
No,
really good
I think
show.
Sam's the best. Sam is
It's a
part
lot
of
of traffic and it's grown to a nice size,
Yep.
He's pretty
Well, like I
much
said,
almost grown that space, outgrown that city center space.
Well, put it this way: the city center had to build a garage mainly to accommodate that show.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
So, are they gonna build
like I said
more?
before, though, Sam is one of like 4 con promoters I trust. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you,
Currently.
man. Do they have plans to make like the event room bigger at all? Do you know?
Not that I'm aware of, but there is a connected hotel, and they could technically, if they wanted to, leverage and utilize that if the hotel wants to play ball.
Oh yeah, the hotel is right next door. I forgot about that.
It's
too.
literally connected. There is there's an annex where you can walk right through to the hotel. And who knows
that would
what
be kind of smart, actually.
Who knows how many more? How many more?
He's big enough to do it. Like the last show I was at was packed, and I can't remember.
I'm going to open up Johnny C Con at the hotel, closed off from the rest of the show, and then just see if people will come to my thing instead.
You charge like $1 to get in.
I charge $1. Aloha.
Yeah. Hey, we got another guest in the back room. I can't believe it.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
hey, Amy.
Hey guys.
hey,
I
how
was
are you?
actually jealous because you guys were at wrestling. I wanted to go to that.
Dude, we got to talk about that. Amy like loved it this time.
Awesome.
I love wrestling so much. Like I liked it when I was a little kid. I liked Hulk Hogan. I liked Andre the Giant.
We all did.
Of course, the
Well,
classics,
who didn't?
vintage.
This semi-pro wrestling stuff, I absolutely freaking love it. I was like, what fall? Like I'm like ready to go.
Yeah, Johnny, she was doing the one fall yell like when you were
You're doing the one
it.
fall. See,
Yes,
doesn't it get more? When
Mhm.
doesn't it get more fun when you like do the chants and all the stuff? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
Johnny, you know what you missed
almost-
on this one? I think this time around, like
Yeah.
this one, they kind of like they were in their proper room, which was upstairs this time, and there was bigger space. But I think because it was like there was a couple championship fights that night, and they also had
belts were
that Shane
exchanged?
Gillis from ECW.
Oh,
So,
Shane
like-
Douglas. Yeah.
Shane Douglas. And so the final match was really fun because it was a 4-way match between Shane Gillis, Leo Sparrow, and a couple other guys.
Okay.
And the whole match spilled out into like the audience, and they were fighting over near the bar, hitting each other with trays and slamming
that's
each other over
great.
tables. You know,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, this
yeah.
is awesome. You know, like there was a point where I had to dodge because they were gonna hit me in my seat. Like I got
Oh,
up
yeah.
and I was like, this is awesome.
They had a trash can, one of those big
Yeah,
50-gallon trash cans, and Keith
Aluminum
was,
trash can.
right in line. And the guy picks it up and like I think he threw it at Leo Sparrow. But Keith was like, oh, like it was.
That's great.
Yeah, it was really good. They were all in the audience, and all our favorites had come back, like the politician and a couple of the other ones. Those small shows, dude, are a lot of fun. I gotta admit,
They're a lot of fun.
Is
I
this like,
highly recommend. Sorry, go on, Harry.
No, is this like AAA for wrestling? Like a very, very minor card or minor wrestling?
Oh yeah,
circuit?
yeah, it's like people that you haven't seen necessarily on TV.
Yeah,
but they travel around the world and they do these small shows, and like they put on a good show.
It's the proving ground. So
right,
it's
like AAA,
it's your
baseball.
farm, so to
Right,
speak.
right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Where there's one of them. There's one out of Eastern Mass. It's called Chaotic, and some of the new Fantastic Four. I like that.
I do like that too.
Clobbering time. Chaotic actually they were the first stages for some of the bigger names out there now went through Chaotic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, there's a Netflix show called Wrestlers.
Yeah, I want to watch that.
It talks about Ohio Valley wrestling, and it's just like Lucky and Chaotic and all these kind of smaller wrestling leagues, and it talks about them kind of being the backyard wrestling thing, like being the actual behind the scenes of that, and these people and what they devote their lives to, and they put their bodies on the line for it, and how they develop their characters and their stories and how they move on, and just trying to do business of by wrestling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's called the trenches. We call it the trenches,
exactly,
like the grind to get to the top,
Yep.
I mean, that's what we're in comics right now. I mean,
exactly. It's exactly the same in the sense of the ascension.
Exactly.
But obviously it's two different
things. Yeah.
Right.
I think these guys too, in this sort of like minor league fights, because they're not superstars and they're not in like WWE, they don't have that built-in audience. Like they try, not that they try hard, you can just tell they're working so hard. Yeah. And when you give them that feedback, they appreciate it and they love the fans, and it's just so fun. I got my picture taken with two of them, the politician and Luscious Latasha.
Yep.
So, and I got a Luscious Latasha t-shirt. So I'm
nice. There you go.
The next one's in February, Johnny.
Wrestling reawoken something in you, Amy.
It did. I was telling Keith, like, if I didn't have a spinal fusion surgery, I would have been up there doing that. Like,
do you think? You think you could have?
It's like the new rollerblading.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Roller derby.
Right.
I was a little kid, so nobody here would know.
Maybe used to play hockey.
I played ice hockey. Yep. So I played ice hockey, and when I was a little kid, like we would fight, like King of the Mountain, and let's do mud wrestling, and we'd like throw each other around in the yard. Again, I needed a spinal fusion as an adult. But
you could be a manager, Amy. You could be a manager, actually. Well,
that would be
you had
fun.
to take a few hits, Amy, because sometimes the managers get thrown in the neck.
Amy, there's a couple of working professionals out there right now that have had spinal fusions. So
I know.
Maybe it's never too late.
Yeah,
you never know. I could see you doing a Hurricane Rana on somebody.
Yeah, I'm good at blocking. I can block well.
It's not in the face. Not in the face. Not the face.
That guy Shane Douglas. At the end of the match, he reminded me a lot of Jerry Lawler. He looks like Jerry Lawler.
Was he a heel? How did he come to the show? Was he a villain or was he a face?
He kind of did a little bit of the villain thing, wouldn't you say, Amy?
Yeah, when it started out, he was a villain because he was up against Randy. what is his last name? I can't remember his name. The one Beth likes.
Playboy or something.
Yeah. So he was against that guy and Leo Sparrow, who are both like, hero types. So he was against them. And then he kind of switched up a little near the end.
Okay. So he turned on his other heel partner.
Yeah. Pretty much.
In the
and then
match.
he
okay.
After the match though, he took the mic and he like talked about how like WWE sucks and and then ECW they kind of paced the way for like real wrestling, like wrestling that looks real and like like really and then he just said like the stuff that's happening in like little venues like Lucky Pro is where it's all at. So he kind of like thanked everybody for coming and stuff like that. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's cool. That's really great. Cool.
The next one's in February, Johnny, if you want in.
I'm in. I'm gonna come. All
right,
me and Amy are gonna start an offshoot of the show that's indie wrestling.
So is that wrestling show worth watching, Johnny? Is it just
the one on Netflix?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have it in my queue. I want to check it out. I'd like to learn about the business of that just to see what it's like and stuff,
So it's basically run by Al Snow, and you might remember Al Snow from an era of wrestling from before, and his whole gimmick was to have a disembodied head, and he would like talk to it, and like Shakespeare was crazy, but he bought this federation, and then the money was running out, so then he had benefactors. The sports radio personality came in, and they're contributing money, so it becomes a balance of this person who has no idea of what wrestling's about with somebody who's been through the industry and trying to come to terms and running this business together. And that's only just a small portion of it. And then it also deals with the help and with the sacrifices they make to get the job done, and then the wrestlers themselves who are they go through injury, or they what it means to hold a title, you know what I mean, things like that.
That's cool. Like I always like talking like we've talked about this before, but I always because I always thought wrestling kind of mimics comics and they kind of go so well together. It does. The very reason that like the way they set up these stories with two larger than life characters, and then they come and they fight excuse me, and I'm about to vomit or something. They fight in the ring.
Very, very emotional.
They fight in the ring to settle their differences, so I always thought that was cool.
Sorry. This event in a very small, intimate place, or like a big auditorium? Like, where was this?
No, it's smallish. It's the Leominster Elks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like an Elks Club, like a Legion thing. It's
there was
pretty
maybe
big room, though.
Yeah, there was maybe like 200 people there, Keith?
Oh, that's pretty small.
Yeah, less than that, I think. But yeah, I'd say at least 100, maybe
at least 100.
The last time I saw a small wrestling event like that was back in the day, it's still years ago at Lowell Memorial Auditorium. It's kind of a small building, but there are a bunch of big names wrestling that night, like JYD, Junkyard Dog, whatever,
nice.
Ultimate Warrior.
Dog
and then the Warrior, like at one point when he was like running by us, one of my friends jumped and grabbed his leg and tore off some tassels, some like the leather tassel. And I still have like my tassel that he gave me. He gave us like
the fans get so into it.
Yeah.
Even at this one, like a little kid, one of the women wrestlers would come up. This little kid jumped out of the audience and put his hand up. He's ready to punch her, and she's like, "Whoa!" Like like the kid almost went too far. Like
she wasn't like, she was more like whoa, like, are we gonna go? This kid was probably like 7 years old. So
you never know. People are crazy these days. And
then one wrestler came out in the audience and grabbed like a little kid's shoe, ripped it off his foot, brought it into the ring, and used it to beat the guy that he was fighting. So that was pretty funny, to see that.
It's fun when there's a certain modicum of audience participation. There's one guy who's in AEW currently, and he's really he's just a heel. He's the worst of the worst. And there's one spot he did where he grabbed this mother's beverage, and she was there with her son. And so that's not unheard of for a wrestler to maybe grab somebody's beverage and drink it, like Stone Cold used to do that or whatever.
Right.
Hangman Adam Page in AEW does that. This guy MJF did it, and instead of drinking it, he threw it in the Sun's face.
Man.
And he threw the cup, and he kept going.
Brutal.
And just little like things like that, like that type of interaction brings it to the next level.
I wonder if after the show's over, if that wrestler will get buy that kid a T-shirt or something, or maybe give him. I wonder if there's like some other behind the scenes things.
The press, when that happened at that event, the press afterwards asked about it, and I guess that kid came backstage and they took good care of him. So
that's cool. Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, I'd take a drink to the face if I could go back.
Right, exactly.
Right, meet everybody.
Yeah,
my good friend Brian Lafferty, who I do conventions with.
Brian.
Yeah, Brian. So if you remember Bret Hart back in the day, he would come to the ring and he would take off his cool visor shades.
Okay.
Like the cool Mo-D glasses, and he would give them to a kid ringside, and Brian was one of those kids.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Another thing I wanted to mention to you, Johnny, that I don't know if you saw, but remember that Ninja Sex Party comic that we worked on that
came out.
It came out, but did you see it sold in like a day, like all the copies? Sold out in a day. Yeah, I was like, holy shit, that's awesome.
Like, I'm telling you, man, that fan base is rabid for their content.
Yeah, I was surprised. And they were charging like $30 or something, and I think they signed it and everything. And
yep. I told them they could have gone more. I told them they probably could have gone 40 to 50.
They probably could have. I think they're planning on doing either another printing or more comics. So we might have more work ahead of us, which would be cool, But I liked working on that book. It had a lot of fun sound effects, and the story's kind of quirky and fun. What did you do? You helped adapt it, right?
A lot of those were written to be shot for film, like a music video or like a sketch.
So did you help kind of smooth it out as a comic book?
Yes, that's correct. I took the material, put it into comic format, ran it by them. They liked it. Gravy. Yeah,
it worked out good, man. Like the stories came together really nicely. And
Joe's a great artist.
Yeah. And I'd never heard of these guys until like the comic came across, to do the work on, but like looks like it's a fun, quirky kind of group,
They do a really funny cover of Africa by Toto.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah.
You said they were on Conan O'Brien and some other places and stuff.
They were on Conan O'Brien, yeah.
That's cool.
So I had dinner with Joe and Danny from the band in San Diego, and I had no idea who he was or what they were all about.
Joe Crow.
Joe, right. Joe Martinez. He goes by Joe Crow.
Oh, okay.
So we all went out to dinner, and we went up Fifth Avenue. Fifth Avenue is that stretch right across from the convention center. We walked up and we went to the convenience store to get water that time.
Yeah.
So we're all walking together going out to dinner to a restaurant, and this guy's getting stopped every block for an autograph or a photo. I'm like, who is this guy? But Danny's real popular. People love him. He's got great success. Real nice guy too. Real personable, real awesome, real good people.
Yeah, like I remember when I got the job, the letter, I went and looked them up a little bit and checked out some of their videos and stuff. I was like, oh, these guys are legit, so that was cool. I just never, Boomer, I haven't even, I don't know these guys.
Neither did I. Like I said, I had no idea who he was. I was like, what's going on here?
It shows you there's like a whole world out there that you might not even be aware of, It's so funny.
Right. Well, to circle it back around, I think back to even 3 years ago when I was completely not watching pro wrestling. And I was like, that's a whole fandom I couldn't wrap my head around. I couldn't even figure it out. Like I said, I remember watching it as a kid in some of the Attitude Era, but like I couldn't understand the level of fandom it grew to. And then I started watching it and I was like, oh.
You just jump in and like start learning it from the ground up.
A lot of it was because I was on Brian's podcast and he spent a lot of time talking about it. And I'm like, well, here's a half hour where I don't know what the hell is going on. So they just started when AEW started in 2019. I was like, well, this is a good jumping on point.
What's up, bud?
So I kind
I
of
really miss the days. I miss the simple days, of wrestling. When it's like a simple guy in the arena, like just like with the microphone that comes down, like
the absurd, like just
introduces
Michael Buffer days.
Exactly, those guys, because nowadays, like all like pyrotechnics and like lights and light shows and like flashy outfits and like everyone's like a acrobat. You know what I mean? Like,
but the personalities were so much funner back then too.
Yeah, there's no like big
Piper,
Piper, like Hillbilly Jim, right? The guy,
all these weird wrestlers, like they were all characters, like
basically
comic characters.
If you notice, a lot of the wrestlers today are like maybe ripoffs of the originals. You know what I mean? Like you'll see like what's her name does Piper now, like Piper.
Ronda Rousey does a riff on Rowdy Piper.
Right. She even wears that same shirt, So a lot of
she does.
I think the gimmick was that he trained her. I think. Yeah. So there was
did he really train her though?
Torch. Yeah, I think there was a level of handing off of the torch there.
She got permission.
So is she like the next generation?
Oh, it was the
She's the next generation of Rowdy Piper.
I guess.
Yep.
Have you seen her fight? Have you seen her fight in WWE?
I've seen her walking. I haven't seen her fighting.
Yeah, I don't watch WWE regularly. There's one guy who jumped from AEW to WWE that I'll watch his matches when they're the bigger ones and they're higher profile. But there's too much wrestling you can watch, and by adding WWE and the locals and AEW, it's too much for me. So I stick with the locals. I stick with AEW, and I'm happy with that. Yes. Another thing I was going to recommend real quick, and I think it would probably be a good way to put a pin in the wrestling thing, but I highly, highly, highly recommend a documentary called "You Can't Kill David Arquette."
Oh yeah, I've been wanting to see it.
It's awesome.
Dark Stream says, Jared says she could wrestle.
Of course he says that.
She is a nice looking lady.
Is he a wrestling promoter? Or?
Yeah, the moles.
David the actor David Arquette from like Scream.
Yeah, it was on Hulu for a long time. I don't know if it's still on there, but
yeah, he was wrestling.
Well, in the 90s, when the WCW made a movie called Ready to Rumble. And basically wrestling was hot at the time then. So they tried to do a little bit of a crossover thing where they made a movie, and in the actual wrestling storylines, they brought David Arquette as an actor in, and they just kind of gave him the world title. And that was very controversial at the time because he didn't earn it. He didn't wrestle for it. He just was handed the title. Ready to Rumble from 2000, exactly. So fast forward years later, and David Arquette took it upon himself where he wanted to legitimize being a wrestler and kind of retroactively earning that title. So this documentary shows him very later in life, around the last time they rebooted Scream, that first movie they did in the reboot series, him learning to wrestle again and going from like backyard indie things to a higher level GCW match, which is a bigger indie promotion.
He's like what, in his 50s though? That's kind of crazy to start
wrestling. He's like Andy Kaufman. Trying to be
a little bit, but legitimized. Yeah, a little bit, but more legitimized.
Except Andy Kaufman's more like a modern day like wrestler because he used to always just wrestle women, right? Like
women. Yeah, exactly. Jared, you need to take after Andy Kaufman. That's your in. Right. You just got to go in there and challenge every woman you see.
Well, you guys Pantini. You can't tell that because I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now, but I'm pretty. I'm the current female arm wrestling champion among my friends. Because one day we're playing cards, like poker every Saturday or whatever. I would get together with my friends, and there's one friend wife who she and I always butt heads,
Yeah.
Because I'd be I would tell friends a story or something from way back in the day because I have friends that I've met when I was like 5 years old, like kindergarten, first grade. We're still friends today, And I would be, making references to something, and she's like, "What is Harry talking about?" Like, well, clearly it's not for you. You know what I mean? So one day we're playing cards, and I don't know how the subject came up, but she's like, "Well, yeah, I used to arm." She's like, "I used to arm wrestle back in the day. I beat this." She was a police officer or police dispatcher. She's like, "I beat this guy at arm wrestling," and she's like, "Oh my god, really?" Like, we're like. And I was like, kind of like, all right, whose deal is it? Anybody? Can we get this game going? And she's like, it's my friend Terry who likes to instigate things. He's like, oh, there's somebody here, a guy here at the table that you think you can beat. It's like, yeah, Harry. Without even like thinking about it, no hesitation, whatsoever.
That means she thought about it before Harry. That's premeditated.
I probably she's probably like waiting for this one moment.
She was waiting for a moment. She's like, "What can I take?"
Right. So she's like, Harry. And then I'm like, all right. And that's pretty sure. Anyway, whose deal is it? I'm just trying to get the game going, And my friend was like, Harry, you're not going to let her say that, are you? We're going to have to see this, right? I'm like, no, I'm good. Let's just play the game. Let's play poker, whatever. It's like, no. We're not playing another hand until you arm wrestle, I'm like, all right, fine.
Was it like over the top last scene with Stallone?
I just turned my hat backwards, and I became a machine. No, but what happened was, so like the second you shake someone's hand or hold their hand, what you're dealing with, like I grabbed her hand, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like a hollow bones. I'm like, whatever. Like, what am I doing here? And she,
like a little bird claw.
Yeah, she was kind of like she had like, I don't know, her hands were very what do you call
dainty?
Like,
she had hollow bones.
Exactly. So I'm holding her hand. Like, there's no way she could beat anybody. So then, so my friend was like, all right, on the count of 3, just. Whatever.
Was it like arm wrestling like a 10-year-old where you just go, like it's so quick?
You try to like I was trying to pretend that I was like in agony or losing, So after the count of 3, I'm like, oh, like doing this, and then I look over like, hey, can you give me a drink at the fridge? I'm making requests, It's like, and then my friend's like, Harry, you could probably win right now. I'm like, yeah, of course. And I was like, well, do it. Like, and I literally, I think she said, I think he tore some ligaments. I'm like, I'm sorry. I just wanted to. So whatever. So I dubbed myself the world women's arm wrestling champion. So any takers out there that you want to take me on? I'll put the title on the line.
That's a pretty good pickup line. Hey, do you want to arm wrestle me?
Right.
Yeah, I could probably give you a run for your money, but I don't know.
Maybe you're right, Johnny, because my previous pickup line was, hey, you look pretty good, like you're in shape. What do you have, tapeworm? But now that could replace it, actually.
Might be a better.
Right, maybe. I'll upgrade it.
Amazing.
Anyway.
Another thing we should mention, too, that me and Amy picked up a signing on Friday, Black Friday this week.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
That's the main reason I wanted to come on here to talk about that.
Most excellent.
Let's get right into it.
And gaming on Friday. Johnny, if you wanted to join us, you could. I don't know if you got anything going on. I don't know how great it's going to be. It was just kind of put together this weekend, but we're trying to put the word out anyways,
So what time is the signing?
It's like 10 to 3. It's like a morning thing,
Where is it?
It's somewhere in Connecticut, Manchester, Connecticut. I'm not quite sure.
Enfield. It is 483 Enfield Street.
No,
Enfield,
they have two. They have two shops.
Oh, they have 2 sites. Oh, well, that's confusing.
I think the one that we're signing at is
okay. Wait, I should probably look at the Facebook group thing. The Facebook event.
So
page, right?
I don't know how far Manchester is. I haven't Google mapped it yet, but it's probby at least an hour or so, maybe 90 minutes because it's probably past.
Okay, there it is. 169B Hale Road, Manchester, Connecticut.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Do you have a map? Do you have a map program up, Amy? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah,
can
can you
pull one
Google
up.
Map it from our house, Amy? And then we'll
I was
see.
gonna
how
say,
often
well, I'm gonna be
I'm not
in
going to show everybody our
Williamsburg.
address.
I'm
Let's
gonna
just-
be in Williamsburg. I'm wondering how far that is. Maybe
Where's
I can just pop in.
Williamsburg? Where is
Out
that?
in Western Mass.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's my friends from California that we know, the ones we went up to with.
Oh, wow,
to,
really?
Korean barbecue were with.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
actually came to Saratoga
Oh,
because they're
really?
in town, and then they're staying in that Williamsburg area.
Oh, really?
And I'm wondering, I'm supposed to go there on Friday, so I'm wondering maybe if I just go, if Mike's free, I'll pick up Mike and Chrissy, and then we'll come down and see you guys.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
I'll
we
have to
could go
see how
lunch,
far it is.
like a late lunch after 2 or something, you know?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
The signing is supposed to be me, Amy, Matt Man, and
Oh, cool.
do you know Vincent? Do you know Vinny Ferrante? No. Yeah, Ferrante from Monarch Comics.
Doesn't. Well, Monarch Comics sounds familiar, but I don't know if I know Vinny.
They have a
personally.
comic called Witch Hunter.
I'm sharing the map if you want to post it, Keith.
So how long did you just do the direction to see how long it takes from 18 page?
Don't talk about our address.
Let's edit that out. Let's
Yeah.
Google that.
That was live. That's on the internet already. Forget it.
Yeah.
It's
All right,
out
so
there.
here's
You can't stop the
directions from
signal.
Worcester. From Worcester,
What's the
Mass.
kid?
Yeah.
Can't stop the signal, Amy.
Yeah.
You can't stop the signal.
I know.
AI already knows.
Yeah, the genie's already out of the bottle. You guys
Yeah,
have to
I'm,
move now. We have to come help you guys move in the middle of the night.
Yep. O positive blood type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. But there it is. There's the Worcester. Worcester to most excellent is about 54 minutes. So if you know where you
so
live
it's
in
going to be
relation to
about
Worcester,
90. It's going to be about 90 minutes or so for us. So Johnny would be where's Johnny? Where are you going to be?
Williamsburg.
Look up
Massachusetts?
Williamsburg. Is that Mass or
Massachusetts.
where the
Where is
heck
it? What's
that?
I know exactly.
is it near Springfield, Johnny?
Sounds very
It's
Revolutionary War, colonial.
You said you're going to the
Williamsburg.
Enfield location?
Jared's
it's
packing
in
his bags now.
It's in Manchester, Connecticut. So that's not too bad. 1 hour, because you'll be up here near Northampton or whatever.
It's an hour.
Okay. Yeah, it's not too bad, but so that's like
Not
basically
too bad.
a
Well,
half
I'll talk to
hour
those guys.
less
I'll
than
see
that.
if they want to make
Yeah,
the
if you
trip.
want to.
We can drive down.
Yeah, I mean, the other reason is the store's having a sale. I don't know what the discounts are and stuff, but they have a lot of pops. I don't know if anyone's into those that you're hanging with. They have a ton of pops I saw.
That's good for Christmas shopping. The kids are still into pops, apparently.
Yeah, pops are still
it's a
popular.
big thing. Yep.
Yep.
But yeah, no, so it should be interesting. I mean, I'm going more to hang out with Matt and Vinny, I think.
I'm going to sell. I'm going to sell.
And I'm
I've
hoping
got-
we sell some stuff.
He was
You
like,
know?
I'm
Get a
gonna make
nice
that
book.
cheddar.
Right.
Yeah.
All of my Inktober drawings are there. I've sold a couple of them, but I've got at least, I think I have like 20 left or something. So at least 20 pieces of original art. All the old original art that's been hanging around is still going to be coming with me. Sorry, I dropped my phone. All of our prints, comics, cards, pins. Are we going to have 2 tables, Keith?
Yeah. Yep.
So this is something interesting. I know Keith has talked about it a little bit, but like we've had a couple cons we've been at recently where we've had like 2 tables, and I think Keith does better and I do better when we have the 2 tables. So
because it's 2 separate experiences.
right.
Yeah, it's like
For vendors or for buyers. Yeah.
Right. So like the pop culture prints are kind of in the middle, like the fan art stuff is kind of in the middle. So then you have like Mighty Mascots and the other comics, Swamp Tales and such, pop culture prints, and then my original art in prints. And I think I don't know.
It's funny because it's like when you're trying to exhibit something indie, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have something that's mainstream next to it, it's almost like it's stepping on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And from the perspective of the buyer. So like you always want it kind of apart. Whenever you try to mix the two, and I've seen it before where people like, oh, this is my stuff, but I'm also selling like comics, you know what I mean? And it doesn't always fly.
And
it
actually,
just doesn't
we should
feel
probably
right.
put the pop culture prints on the opposite end, because I think you're right. Like I was looking at something came up in the memories a while ago on good old Facebook, and it was one of our old setups when I had like Pickle Rick and stuff. That's what we sold. We made money selling stupid, god awful sculptures that were cute and everything, but they were detracting from Keith's comic book, you know?
Yeah, it's tough though. Like if the table's cheap enough, I would definitely be about getting 2 tables, but shows like
Like New
Terrific
York
Con
or
or
Wicked or any of the
none of
bigger
those. I
shows.
don't think you could afford 2 tables.
No.
You could, but it's a lot more money to make back.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You're just creating a bigger uphill battle for yourself to make table at that point.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly. But on the shows that like the table's like $40 or something, you could take the chance on getting 2 there, and the risk is a lot smaller.
We keep getting lucky and have people not show up next to us.
Right? Yeah, that's happened a couple of times. That's like
rolling the dice with the airplane. Like, hopefully the seat next to me isn't open. I can stretch out,
Yeah, Jared said that's the big thought. You want to sell all of your own, but could you sell that more than a Spider-Man? Yeah, I mean that's what
technically
it is.
Depends on how it's presented, right?
Right, it does.
You can't say, oh, this artwork sells itself. You can't do that. You can't go, let it speak for itself. You have to sell it. You have to present it to people. You have to make it sound enticing. You have to make it look visually enticing. You can't just set up at a show, fold your arms, not engage with people, look at your phone, do artwork, and not sell. And then turn around and say you got a bad show.
You got to go the extra mile.
You got to engage. You got to exactly, Harry.
And wear your tinfoil hat.
Right. And Dismay Comics is killing it. Let me tell you what.
Yeah, I love that kid, Brandon. He does a good job at his branding. Yeah,
he is good with his hat.
Right.
At first, I wasn't convinced on him, and then he came on the show with the hat. Sold.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, great. But you're right, Johnny. Like a lot of it is, half of it is you. I'd say 50% is your presentation, and then the other 50% is how you talk to people and how you engage. Or
it's not
if you don't
easy
engage,
I mean, that's why I try to say something to I don't harass people, but if I see them looking, I try to engage people and say something. Like, I like your shirt. Those are nice earrings. Whatever. Like, how about those Mets? I don't know. Like anything just to get them to talk to you, I try to be engaging unless I'm having a really bad day, and then I just tell them to talk to Keith.
Yeah.
But selling the original art, one of the good things I've noticed with original art, because I know people want to sell originals, and who wants to just sell fan art all the time? But a lot of the originals I sell are because people are like, oh, that's a pug. I have a pug. I love pugs. Or oh, look, a unicorn. I love unicorns. And I know there's other artists like Jay May has gotten into doing a lot of his own. I think he only sells originals. He doesn't really do fan art anymore, but he does robots. People like robots. You know what I mean? So if there's,
you're gonna find that
it's more difficult with an IP though, because if you have a character, no one knows who that character is. It's a little bit more difficult, which is why sometimes with Mighty Mascots, people are like, oh, a pirate. I like pirates.
Unless you do your own variation of a popular thing, like Critters, for example, like your Halloween drawing. People, there might be some horror movie guy out there or lady that might like that print.
Right, yeah, but that's that straight fan art. That's just here is Critters. I drew that.
Right, but that's your own variation, type thing, right? So that's kind of cool. It's kind of like what I do with my stuff. I try to take something that. I was thinking about back in the day when The Mandalorian was out, just drawing Grogu looking in the mirror and seeing what's his name, Gizmo, staring back at him. Because they have the same. It's the same shaped head and same body, and everything, like the same ears.
It's the same riff, exactly.
Right. But
but now no one likes the Mandalorian anymore, or is very sour on it.
Is he even still on that show anymore? That Pascal, whatever. Isn't he being considered for a Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic?
Well, he's never in the suit. Like didn't they record his voice a bunch so that they have his voice as
right.
actor,
I think.
Right.
And now someone else is in the suit or something, I heard.
Yeah, I think the first season he had time in the suit, but after that they they worked.
You never know. Yeah, right. You can have AI do the voice,
He's being considered for Mr. Fantastic, but he hasn't been cast from what I read.
What about
yeah, I think it's a bad choice too.
That's kind of a miscast.
What about Kurt Russell?
And I know why they want to do it too.
Well, he's popular, right? Is that why?
Well, I don't also because he's got range to play a villain. Because what they're probably going to do, and this is just kind of thinking out loud here, but they're going to be pivoting away from Kang. And the only other way to kind of do the same exact Kang story, but not involve Kang, is to do the Council of Reeds. Right. And they'll basically have the Maker. Exactly. Yeah. And then that's why he could probably play like the villain and the hero. And it's the same, so many variant Reeds out there. You know what I mean? And it's just the same thing. So it'll probably be something where he comes in, prunes Kang, and then, he's the one who causes Secret Wars.
He was the bad guy in one.
Someone else had an idea. Yeah, maybe.
Well, he was a bad guy in Wonder Woman 1984. That movie that said that
he was a bad guy, and
I liked how over the top he was in that. I think he was the only thing I liked about Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah,
he was also the villain in Equalizer 2 and a few other movies too. Yeah. The what I was gonna say, someone at the shop had a good idea, like what if they hired like Denzel Washington's son or something, and like make him like another King variant that like kind of conquers the rest of them, and he kind of becomes the King face, kind of like didn't they replace Black Panther too? Like didn't they
with his sister or whatever?
Yeah. Well, weren't they gonna recast or something? I thought.
Oh yeah, that was like I think they made.
Or maybe it was just a rumor that I heard, but that's another way to get out of it. What's that?
I thought they were going to keep the Chadwick Boseman role untouched, and I think
so maybe that's
the end of Wakanda Forever sets up
his son
something.
Weren't they talking about recasting though at some point, or am I just not remembering that right?
I mean, they could be recasting for the sake of the voice actor for like What If, or it could be something where it's like, here's a variant.
Yeah,
Did
you get out to see the Marvels, Johnny? Or Harry?
I didn't. Although I heard good things, so
yeah, Amy.
I don't want to. Oh, did you like it? You're muted.
I did, and I didn't. I can tell you why. If you want a non-spoiler review,
I'll take a non-spoiler review real quick.
All right, so I watched it, and I really enjoyed a lot of the action set pieces. There's some really cool stuff that happens, and there was a couple of moments where I was like, oh boy, this is going to be exciting. Like legitimately exciting stuff was happening. The young lady who plays Kamala Khan, Imana Vellani, I think is her name.
Yeah. She
is fantastic. Like she has so much energy on screen. She's very believable as like a teenager hero and super fan. And like she was just adorable. Like I just wanted to pinch her cheeks. But I think I told Keith, like if I was 9 years old, I'd be like, I want to be just like her. Like she's the one I would want to be. I wouldn't want to be Captain Marvel or Monica Rambeau. Like she was the one that really captured the screen.
Yeah. Did you watch Miss Marvel? Did you like the show?
I didn't watch Miss Marvel. No, I didn't. And they did enough recap stuff. I was also aware of it, so I knew it existed, but I didn't watch it. So, but they covered enough ground where I wasn't lost at all.
Do you think this will make you want to go back and watch it?
It might, maybe if the rest of my review didn't kind of happen.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt though.
The problem is it's definitely, here's two things. It's a kid's movie. It is not made, you know how most of the Marvel stuff from like Iron Man until the Avengers was like kind of for older kids, teenagers, young adults, and, you know, grown-up nerds. It had that level of action and danger and like stakes. This was very much like a kid's movie. It's not even like the violence isn't that violent. The fights are kind of like bam pow, and it's like very juvenile. The plot is very juvenile. The stuff with the cats is very juvenile. So it was like a kid's movie.
I felt Thor: Love and Thunder was a kid's movie.
Yes. Yes,
Friends,
it was very much, it was better. So I did tell Keith too, it was better than Thor: Love and Thunder, because I did see that. That was also a kid's movie. This was very much a kid's movie in the same way, but it was a little bit better because the characters were better and the story was a little better. So this is my hot take on it, is I didn't like the complete erasure of male characters. Like, there's no men in it. It's not for boys.
Sam, Nick Fury, no?
No, he's in it.
Fury.
Nick Fury's in it. But he's like a grandma. He's very like, there's no, I don't want to sound like sexist. There's no man doing manly things.
When do we get our rights? Me Too movement for men. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Like, there was no male character in this. If I was a little boy, I'd be like, this is for girls. So I guess it's a girls' movie. I don't know. But so Nick Fury is in it, but he's very much like a guy running around on the space station with computers. Like, he's not, you know, he's not a strong male character. On that singing planet, there's a prince. Minor spoiler. He's married to Captain Marvel in a marriage of convenience, because it's the only way he can rule in a matriarchal society is to be married to the most powerful person in the universe. So it's very disempowering to a male audience. And I only picked up on this later when I was really thinking about it, because I was like, who do I know that would want to see this? You know, and it reminded me. Yeah, it reminded me of when I took
Keith is psyched.
I know. When I took our nephew who was like, I think he was 13 at the time, I took him to see Black Panther 2. And he has always been a comic book fan. He likes the Marvel. He grew up with these Marvel movies, right? So I took him to see it. We get in the car after. He's 13, you know. And I was like, so, hey, man, like, what'd you think of that movie? The very first thing he said was like, they really depowered M'Baku. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, he was so weak. And that was the first thing he said. And
powerful week. Powerful week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, they really depowered him. And that was his big takeaway. And I was like, that's really sad. So it is
kind of a bummer.
Like, yeah, it tells you that there are still boys who want to like this stuff for the same reason.
That's why they're getting diminishing returns. They aren't.
Anyway, so that's my soapboxes. I kind of liked it. It was fun. I do recommend it. Like, wait till it comes on Disney Plus, or go on a matinee, or if you know any little girls, take them to see it, because it's really empowering for girls and women. It's a good story that, you know.
Johnny's
I'm not
running
opposed
right
to that
out.
kind of movie. I'm not opposed to that kind of movie, but I guess for me, really more importantly, especially because it doesn't sound like it has a big impact on the rest of the MCU, and
I've heard
also,
that. I've heard it doesn't have. It's very low stakes and low key to the Marvel overall picture. You know,
where if it's not like a franchise breaking movie in terms of badness, and if it's fun.
Yep.
Then I can give it a little bit of leeway. Like, I can just spend a little bit of apprehension for the sake of that. But I guess there's a certain point where you tip that scale. Yeah. So, and that's, everybody's taste is different. So I'd have to actually see it to see if it, because I'm optimistic, Amy, and I think I might share your perspective a little bit in the sense of like, okay, if it's fun and like I can get lost in it a little bit, okay, I'm good.
Did you like Miss Marvel, the show? Did you watch it?
I watched Miss Marvel, the show.
Did you like?
Predominantly didn't like it, but only because it didn't seem like it was a well-made show. Not because I didn't like the people in it, not because I didn't like the story content. I felt like some of the editing wasn't great. I felt like some of the just the way they shot it wasn't good. I felt like they were cramming in characters just for the sake of adding cast and not for the sake of promoting story. So there were some critical things that I had about that show, but and even the main actress there who plays Miss Marvel, I felt like she was a little too young at that point to do some of the stuff they were giving her to do. But Amy, for you, in the context of this story, the way you're talking about how she kind of fits in, and there's like a place for her for that type of character, it sounds like. Yeah, I think it might work. You know what I mean? It might work in that regard. You know?
Yep. And I think it did work. And I mean, ultimately, if their goal is to try to bring in a younger audience, maybe kids who are watching this could grow and they're going to demand movies that are a little more mature, meaning there are actual stakes and actual danger.
A kid's superhero movie that both me and Amy actually enjoyed was that we watched recently was Crypto and the Legion of Super Pets, I think it's called.
Really?
Dude, it was fun.
It was fun,
fantastic.
Really? Yeah, it really was.
Was we doing that too?
I'm shocked right now, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun.
Well, so give a quick review on that. What was the deal? I mean, I saw that trailer and it was completely off my radar. So you'll have to kind of rope me in selling me and why I should watch this.
So it's funny. It has stakes. It has a lot of the DCU stuff in it, like the Justice League is in it. And obviously it reminds me of that comic Loki and the Pet Avengers. It's kind of like that, or not Loki.
Yeah.
What's the dog from Inhumans? Why am I blanking on his name? Lockjaw and the Pet Avengers. It reminded me of that, except it's like Crypto and Ace, becoming friends, and then there was other characters too. I'm trying to remember. The League of Super Pets, Dwayne Johnson and was it Kevin Hart did the voices, which made it kind of fun.
Yep. There were other pets in it who are actually in the DC comics, but they don't start out as heroes. They're just pets. So
one's like got the Flash powers, they're almost like a Justice League, but pets. And the villain is a hamster that like Lex Luthor would experiment on.
Keith, it's not a hamster, as she tells you multiple times in the movie. She is a guinea pig.
Oh yeah. It's so funny. Like there's funny jokes. Cute. There's funny jokes in it, like because like the humans can't really tell what the animals are saying, but you can, as the viewer, you can hear them talk fine. And
we can hear the animals talk. Yeah.
And the guinea pig does this like whole.
This.
It's what?
I get like a Zootopia vibe off this.
I never saw Zootopia.
I've seen that. I like this more than Zootopia. It was because it's got a very like focused story. It's a lot about too, like it has like lessons in it because the animals need to learn to have basically the confidence to use their powers. Something happens, they're shelter pets, but there's like a pig and a turtle, and these shelter pets, they think they're worthless because they're shelter pets. They get powers, and then they're like, oh, what do we do? And so there's this like, how do you form a team? How do you build someone's confidence and work together and, overcome your own ego? And it's that type of a story.
That's a good message. And you know what? For that there needs to be more of that out there anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah.
for that
It's
alone, I think
hilarious. It is
yeah, I like that.
It
hilarious.
reminded me of the Disney movies they used to make back in like the early 2000s, where they were just solid entertaining with a little bit of a life lesson and things like that. But it's got the superhero element too, which makes it a lot more fun to watch. And
Can
ties
I
it back to the comics.
I
yeah,
got a little teary at the beginning. I don't think Keith noticed this, but I was totally teary because it shows you where crypto came from. And I don't think this is a spoiler. It's right in the beginning of the movie. So it's baby Kal-El, and he's playing with his puppy, and they're on Krypton, and it's about to explode. So his parents put him in the ship, which is like the ship from the
well, yeah, they do use the ship from Superman 1. I was so impressed
Like
with
the
the star, the
That's
star
cool.
shape. I was
So
like, that's awesome. That got
it was cool.
major points for me right there,
And
you know.
they put baby Kal-El in, and then little puppy Crypto is like whining to get down, and he like runs and he jumps in the pod, and he's like,
cool.
and the baby's crying, and Crypto like comforts him. It's so sweet. I got a little teary watching it. So.
How did Crypto get here anyway in the comics?
Yeah, in the comics, how was
I don't
that?
know. Like
A meteor?
much like most Kryptonians that just show up, they just like
Right.
somehow survived that whole
Did
planet.
he come from that little planet in the jar? What's it called? Candor or whatever?
Candor, yeah.
Caldor?
Model City of Candor.
From Caldor.
Caldors.
Yeah, I mean, it's whenever a Kryptonian shows up, it's somehow they were trapped in the Phantom Zone, and when Krypton was exploded, or there's some other wacky thing, you know, that.
Well, even like Supergirl was just another pod.
She was from,
we
was it
forgot
Argo
about.
City, or was that from the movie? I can't remember, but she was from another city that got, sent her in a pod.
And Bizarro.
She arrived like 15 years later than Kal-El or something. Or no, she arrived 15 years earlier because she was older than him. Yeah. So something like that. But yeah, the whole Superman mythos is a little,
they should do
so
a whole
wacky stuff in there.
They should explore that aspect of Superman, like the Kaldorians, Kandorians, because what's this shrunken city? What's it about? Like who's in there? Who lives there? Like what stories can be told there? That'd be a cool spin-off show. I love that Superman movie show that came out.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Right,
the
Krypton
one.
Krypton,
it was
right?
Called
right.
Krypton, yeah.
Yeah,
it was
a really good show. Actually, I'm sad that.
I wish they'd utilized Adam Strange a little better, because I love that character, and he just kind of didn't do anything. Like I don't even did he get the jetpack eventually? I don't even think so.
I know he teleported.
Adam Strange, and they never did anything with him in that show.
Yeah,
but
who's that blue guy or that guy that with the beard?
Oh, Lobo.
Lobo, yeah.
Yeah, Lobo was cool on that show, actually. Yeah, it's really cool. The Candor thing is funny. They did do a storyline in the comics that I really liked, and it lasted for about a year. And it was, at the time, they had 4 Superman books, and it ran through all 4 of them. Damn. But the premise was that they finally grew the city of Candor back into its proper form, and it was on Earth. So all of a sudden Superman went from just being the only Kryptonian to being one of thousands that were on the planet Earth. And I like that storyline a lot, because he ends up leaving Smallville to go and be like an ambassador for this city. And of course there's all this other stuff going on, like Zod's around too, because he becomes part of Candor and starts doing shit there.
That'd be a great movie.
Then, what's that? Yeah, it'd be a great movie.
I know.
They get into the whole religion that Krypton had, like there's like a whole religion that they used to have. And it's a great storyline. It lasted for literally a year, and it was through all the books, and it was just really cool to read it and watch it unfold,
That's kind of fascinating too, because if you think about it, right, it's tough when you're writing a character that's very powerful. How do you equalize it? That's why one of the best things about Superman's origin, or I'm sorry, not his origin, but his relationship with Pa Kent in the comics, and why it sucked so bad in Man of Steel, is that Superman can punch a villain. He can rescue somebody from a burning building. He can do amazing things, but he can't stop a heart attack.
Yeah.
And that's a very human connecting aspect. How do you connect a god to the human race? Well, you give him problems like losing his father to a heart attack. That's the other thing too. It's like putting him in a society, where he's not the only one anymore. He's not special when there's so many.
Even in the last season of Superman and Lois, like having Lois have cancer and him being helpless at everything to do that.
That was part of what made that season great. Exactly.
Yeah,
The last episode, I don't know if you saw it.
I did. I just watched it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, man, that episode was great. Even though it was like a goofy with the Bizarro Doomsday, like that was kind of goofy. But
goofy how they got there.
Episode.
Yeah, goofy how they got to the Doomsday character, but overall, I agree. That last half hour was fucking awesome. Great fight. Awesome, yeah. I hated how it ended though. I was like,
I know.
Ended like that. Like
I know.
But I know they're coming back for a short final season, right? I read like 8 episodes.
A short season with like minimal returning cast.
Yeah,
so I'm curious to see what they're doing with that.
Yeah, I hope at least they wrap it up kind of nicely.
Yep.
I like that show. I think it's got potential.
I'm rewatching Smallville right now, all the episodes. So I'm about to get to the point where John Schneider has a heart attack.
Oh, okay. Remember when Smallville was like the only superhero thing?
It's a great
TV for a long time.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of throwaway episodes that were like, stupid. Like there's like a which one for Halloween or something. There's like so many dumb episodes.
I hated the one that was like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Remember?
Right, that one too. But they just showed Christopher Reeve's final appearance
on. Right, he was great on that.
Yeah, he was just on his final film appearance ever, which is on Smallville, playing Dr. Swan. Kind of cool.
I gotta admit, like I'll stand beside the first 3 seasons of that show were amazing. After that, it gets really spotty.
Yeah,
it's all over the place. And once Rosenbaum leaves, it's like you might as well just
but he comes back
away
from the finale. Show. You should watch the finale, I guess. When they said they did never show Superman in his suit.
I did see it. I was just saying, like I watched it all the way through, but once Rosenbaum left, it kind of became like a chore to watch it.
Yeah. Because his cousin or something takes over, or some other character that no one's ever met. Like some girl.
Yeah, it's the woman that's on. She plays what's this? She's on Righteous Gemstones now.
Tess something.
Yeah, but she's on Righteous Gemstones now as Danny McBride's wife.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh my god, that's that woman from Smallville that played Lex Luthor. But she's great on Righteous Gemstones, which is another amazing show. Check it out.
That show's awesome, man.
It's so good. Walt Goggins looks just like
Uncle Baby
what's
Billy.
His face from comics?
Steranko.
He looks exactly like him.
What's that new show they're doing with Superman now? There's a new Superman show or movie or whatever that's coming out. I think they cast Kurt Russell as Jor-El on this.
It's a movie?
It's like something. Cavill is no longer Superman. They have a new guy doing. I forget what it's.
Oh, this is the James Gunn one.
Yeah,
the one James Gunn's doing.
Right.
So who did they cast as Jor-El?
He's like some other long name, no name guy.
The guy they cast as Superman is pretty good. It's that guy, Johnny. Did you see Pearl?
No.
The horror movie?
No, not yet.
He looks like Cavill.
He's from that movie and he's awesome in that movie.
Also,
like British. I remember like when one of my friends when we were watching it, he was like, that guy would make a good Superman. This was before James Gunn was even part of DC. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, he would. And then all of a sudden I heard he got cast. I was like, oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, you guys willed that into existence.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? And I highly recommend Pearl if you haven't seen it, but also watch X first, though.
Well, I saw X with you guys. That was awesome. That was a really
so you'd
good
love
movie.
Pearl.
Yeah.
You'd love Pearl. Mia Goth
she's
is
amazing.
So good
she's
in
good.
Pearl.
Yeah.
Like even better than she was in X. Like she should have gotten an Oscar nomination. She
should have.
I mean, she was even good in that Bonkers movie we watched. What was it?
Infinity Pool.
Infinity Pool. Yeah, that movie is bonkers.
Yeah, yeah, she's a good
in that.
actress. I like her. So
they just cast. I saw news that they just cast her as somebody. I was trying to find it in like a pop culture film.
That's what I was.
Blade.
Blade. That's it. Yeah, she was announced to be on Blade.
Oh God, that whole Blade thing drives me crazy. I don't know if I told you this. Did you hear all the news coming out about how they, like all these versions of Blade that they're going through that they can't quite get the script right, and it's like, how can you not make a Blade movie? Like, you just make an action movie with vampires. Like, it just. Look at the Underworld movies. Look at what's that?
Yeah, called Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
They do that first
They gotta call Wesley Snipes.
That is still a top 10 superhero movie. I don't care what anyone says. That
Wesley Snipes, he was on What We Do in the Shadows, that TV show. He looks the same.
Oh yeah,
as Blade.
Yeah.
Bring him back.
That's right. He was on there as Blade. Yeah,
he was on there as Blade.
He needs money, right? He just got out of prison.
But the fact, just let me in there. I'll make a good Blade movie. Like, I don't understand how they can't do it. Like, it's like when, what drives me nuts about Hollywood and comic book movies, like when they make something like Jonah Hex and they can't get it right. It's like, for fuck's sake, just make a Clint Eastwood movie and throw Jonah Hex in there. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it drives me nuts that they can't do it.
To them, that's too simple, right? They have to make it something their own.
They have to add a supernatural angle,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever, you know what I mean? But then again, Jonah Hex did have some supernatural stories and things like that. They've used him in many different ways in the comics. But I think for the modern audience, something more straightforward Western would have played a lot better.
Would have worked better, I think,
than what they gave us. Yeah.
But they could have also threw in some of those cool other Western heroes, like they had like Scalp Hunter and remember, was it? I think this might be Marvel though. It's like not Billy the Kid, but there's like that. I forget, the two gun kid or something. That's a Marvel guy, though, I think. But I always remember, is it the Two Gun Kid, the one that was like, the one that had like the split personality? I always thought that was funny. Like he was basically hunting himself, and I always thought that was hilarious. Like he would run in, shoot up all the bad guys. He'd run off, and then he'd run back in, and he'd be like, "I heard the Two Gun Kid was here. Like I gotta catch him."
That's great.
I always thought that was hilarious.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, he was hunting himself.
The last time I saw them use Jonah Hex was the Justice League War World cartoon.
The cartoon, was he good in that? I haven't seen that yet.
Well, they made him a villain.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they turned him heel in that for some reason. I don't know why.
So Mongol wasn't the villain in that?
No, it was. Well, there was different stories.
Okay.
And in the first story, it was a Wonder Woman. It was like a Wild West thing, and she was facing up against John Hex.
Oh, okay. So they did it like characters just trapped on War World, that kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah. Like it was, or they didn't realize what was going on, and they would like live out the scenario, and they would kind of feel like they belonged in something else. There was one segment that was Batman as like Conan the Destroyer.
Oh, cool.
It was like they just basically just riffed on Conan, but it was really Batman, and that was a really good one. That was a good.
I think
segment.
there was like a multiverse version of him that was like that or something, right? Like when Grant Morrison was writing it, there was like a weird they did like a weird
barbarian Batman.
Yeah, like multiversal Batman. There was like a pirate Batman and some other shit, just weird stuff.
You got Gotham by Gaslight. You got all sorts of variations of it. Yeah,
they made that cartoon too, didn't they?
I think they did. Yeah,
I think they did too. I fell behind on those, but I do like those movies.
I don't actively watch them, but every so often will catch one, and I'll be like, "Oh, this is pretty good,"
Yeah, definitely. But all right, guys, do you want to wrap this up? It's been about an hour and 20.
I know. I was like, hey, we should have a short show. And we're gonna have a long show.
Can I share one quick thing? It's kind of like
Absolutely
like a down note. I'm sorry, not to like end on.
Why do we got a Debbie Downer it?
Amy's always a Debbie Downer with stuff sometimes.
No.
I
think it doesn't need to be a down note. Hold on a second.
Well, you teed us up to get a down note, so let's.
I'm ready to cry now.
You guys know this cosplayer, Joe Tortorello?
Yeah.
He passed away, so I just wanted to give him a shout out.
Oh, I like Joe.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
shit!
so,
he used to come to Plastic City all the time.
He did. That's why I wanted to give him a shout out.
That's a bummer.
Wicked nice guy. His cosplay. I mean, look at him. Like so memorable. I saw
that was like a
That's Terrificon,
Batman
isn't it?
villain too, right? King Tut, wasn't that an old school? That was like an Adam West. Oh no, really, Joe? Oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
that's a bummer.
Our friend Jabo posted about it this morning, and Louis Perry and a couple people on Facebook were talking about it. And I know you guys know who he is, so I wanted to
absolutely,
I talked to him a handful of times at shows, and oh man, that stinks.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's sad news.
It is very sad news, but look at we all know who he is. Like, he's instantly recognizable. I have nothing but good memories of Joe. A nice guy. And, for all the people out there who cosplay, just remember, people know who you are and they remember you. Even if you don't think you're making an impression, you do. And he brought a lot of just happiness and smiles to people. People would see his King Tut cosplay and just, get excited and say hi. And he was always just a really nice guy. So
he left his mark. He left his mark. Predominantly King Tut. Yeah, I think he always was, actually. Right?
He was always King Tut. Yeah,
I don't think he did much different. Like, God, I probably have one of his business cards kicking around here too. I used to give it away when he met you as a cosplayer too.
And
God, that stinks. Like, he used to come and talk to me because he knew I ran Plastic City and stuff.
Yeah.
And he would always try to find out when the show was, and he'd let me know if he's going to be there. Like, I think Matches. Yeah, I was just going to say Matches knows him really well.
Matches.
Series of Matches.
Oh man, that stinks.
I think that's Mike.
Did they say he seemed like he was in his at least 70s maybe, or late 60s?
Yeah, there was no other information when this was posted.
That's too bad.
It's a bummer.
He had been at I think he had an injury. He had been in a rehabilitation center for a little while. So,
you know him, Johnny? You've seen him around, right?
I've absolutely seen him around. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't say that I
ever talked to him.
Knew him very personally, but I've saw him at a bunch of shows, and I've always saw him at Terrificon. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think we may have spoken a little bit. But always it was personable, very kind guy. Yeah.
Just a kind guy. I mean, he loved doing this at shows. I just remember that. And I'm like, oh, there he is. It was always fun to see him,
Oh yeah. I remember that Penguin guy too.
He's familiar.
May he rest peacefully eternal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always tough when you lose somebody in the Comic-Con community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So slightly down note, but
I'm glad you did it, Amy, only so that the best way for him to live on is to honor the memory, right?
Exactly.
So to give a moment to kind of appreciate him. That's
and much like your address, his image now is floating out there into the.
It's out there. You can't stop the signal now.
Exactly.
I expect Christmas cards galore. Yep. Floral arrangements are appreciated.
Right. Keith, you even if it's 3 a.m., if you got to move, you call me. I'll help you move.
Right. Awesome.
We'll just pack up everything.
Yeah. All right, so we'll end this one, and hopefully, wait, before we go, let's check our schedule here.
I just want to say it was nice having Amy on the show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's
great
nice
guest.
to be
So-
here.
Great guest.
Thank
We
you
got
for coming
one
on,
more
Amy.
episode this coming Monday, which I'll try to confirm.
Let's make
before
sure that
time.
let's email the
Then-
guests so they'll cancel.
So starting this next Monday, we have one guest. Then after that, we are on our schedule again for a week anyway. So we're off the 4th, but then we're doing 2 back-to-back episodes so that we can have Christmas and New Year's off. So we're gonna do 2 weeks in a row to have 2 weeks off. So it'll be a nice like refresher, and like
Yeah.
So
we should do a reboot.
Yeah. So
New year,
on the
new Nick
27th, this
Thomas
coming 27th, we're supposed to have Benjamin Franzen on. I don't remember who that is, but I'll check my emails. I'll send you guys any material that he might have sent to. Then on the 11th, the 4th we're off, and then the 11th we're going to have Vincent Ferrante and Matt Herring on.
Nice.
And on the 18th we're going to have Brian Kelly on.
Okay.
And then we're off for 2 weeks, and then we're right into 2024 after that. So the first week we'll be back is January 8th.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
so it won't be too bad, so but all right, so yeah, let's, I guess, everybody have a great Thanksgiving, first and
Happy Thanksgiving.
foremost. Hopefully you get to read some comics on your little break,
I'm
Yep.
thankful for y'all.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Come see
thankful-
us up on
thankful
Black
for you all,
Friday.
too.
Mhm.
If you're around.
Yeah, if you don't want to go to any stores on Friday for Black Friday sales, you can come to a comic store that's having a Black Friday sales
Yeah.
in Manchester, Connecticut, and meet 4 great creators,
Yep.
So
It's cool. Yep.
Thank
Well,
you for having
Happy
me on
Thanksgiving.
tonight.
Yep.
yeah,
Thank you for coming on, Amy.
Thank you for coming on. But all right, everybody, have a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you next Monday. All
Yep.
right. Good night, everybody.
Have a good
Bye.
night.